chill with you. Flip a doujin in the bed, I'm reading manga till it's 2. Tell me that you love a sip, I go, I'm knowing that it's true. Cause you acting all moe and vanilla in my view. So this is for them waifus, straight 2D flex in my life, fool. If you fuck with hands, how you mind, dude. Let the beat right out, keep it nice and smooth, yo. Hello? Yeah, I got a question. Do you really think you...
How was your week?
My week was pretty damn good. I went to a racetrack for work, and then today I was told that all the work we did there was for nothing. So I got to go to a racetrack for free.
Sweet. That was much better than my week, where I went to work every day and pretended to do work.
We also crashed a drone into a wall. That was last week, but we fixed it, and now it flies again. Barely.
Nice.
What else? We built furniture. School sucks. I don't like the school part.
Yeah.
Oh, in World of Warcraft, in raiding, we almost killed Heroic Odin. I know that that's a really big deal to you.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
I know, dude.
Hey, everyone.
It's fucking stupid as shit.
Welcome to the Weeaboos, the anime podcast where some of the most unqualified people try to answer your anime questions. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hunter, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it tonight. Just the two of us.
Just two normal guys.
Just two normal guys hanging out, being bros, talking about anime.
So, Jeremy is sort of here.
He's around.
He's here in body, but not in spirit.
Yeah.
I suppose he won't be talking, but he is around. And then Sam is at a frat party. He sent me a Snapchat where he has 100 some odd bottles of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Sprite, just assorted soda products.
That's a lot. That's too many.
So I have no idea if he knows what he's in store for, having a frat party at his house. But that is why Sam is not here, because he might die.
Goodness. Let's just jump right into the topic.
How about we jump into what we're drinking?
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Okay, I only say that because I found more Left Hand Brewery stuff. It's, of course, Left Hand Brewery out of Longmont, Colorado. This is Good Juju, which is ginger beer, ginger ale. Well, no, ale brewed with ginger, because ginger ale is not alcoholic. But, Kyle, you said we've drinking this before?
I think so. Maybe not on the podcast, but I know I've had it at least once.
And then the other beer we have is a Sierra Nevada Celebration. Neither of us have had it, but it's apparently pretty popular as a winter beer. Mm-hmm. And that one is very good.
Yeah, I like it. I like the IPA. It's a little bit more...
I mean, it's pretty much a standard IPA, but it's a little bit more bitter than some.
Maybe.
It's really good for winter. Like, I can understand why you wouldn't want to drink it in summer.
Now I think we can finally move into this week's topic. So, nowadays there seem to be so many anime with incredibly expansive concepts. We have anime with epic space battles, intricate time travel paradoxes, thoroughly developed fantasy universes, and so much more. For the sake of this discussion, let's refer to those anime as large-scale anime. Now let me say there's nothing inherently wrong with large-scale anime. In fact, I think we can all agree that part of why we like anime so much is because it's a medium that has created and continues to create stories with these monumental adventures.
Well, yeah, you want to see, like... You don't want to see, like, Jim, like, save his neighbor's job.
Yeah, totally.
You want to see, like, fucking, like, some dude with a crazy Japanese name, like, save the world.
However, sometimes a small, simple idea can be much more meaningful. And what we'll refer to as small-scale anime are shows that have a very narrow scope in regards to what they're trying to convey to their audience. To put this idea in a form of a question, what makes something like overcoming depression or confessing your love to someone any less meaningful than destroying a monster with a single punch or batting a satellite back into space with a bat,
The shorter answer is, like, it doesn't. It's not any more impactful. It's just what's your... like, almost in the mood for watching. Like, sometimes I don't want to watch a shonen or somebody do something big and, like, powerful. Like, sometimes I want the climax to be like, oh, they wrote a song and now they're gonna play it, and now...
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's mood. I think it might be perspective or focus. But before we even go into that, let's start with examples. Let's just name some large-scale anime and then some small-scale anime.
So I already get you beat here because the two I'll name are, like, the smallest and the largest.
Okay.
So Two of my favorites, and I've mentioned this multiple times, are K-On! And Gurren Lagann. And now Gurren Lagann actually has like a unofficial award for having the tallest and like the biggest in scale.
Right. It is
Like
literally
robot like
biggest.
of all time in anime. It's like I read the thing. It was something like 56 billion light years across. Like
Yeah.
this fucking the fucking like it's only in the movie is the one that's that big, but it's literally like they are fighting by throwing entire universes at one another. And then after like he wins, the entire thing blows up for no goddamn reason. And it was absolutely amazing. But the thing is that I mean that is as big as you can possibly go.
Yes.
That is literally I can't even fathom the number.
Yes, it's-
56 billion light years.
It's large scale in the most literal sense possible.
It's absolutely huge.
They are
And then-
throwing galaxies at each other.
And on the other side of the coin, I absolutely adore watching K-On! And it is like it is about 4 high school girls that do nothing super impressive and they happen to play music. Like
Right.
this K-On! Could have literally happened at some point.
Yes.
Like and probably did, maybe not in Japan, but that story probably has a pretty realistic like, you know, real life substitute that actually happened.
Yeah. So, a few other examples, along with Gurren Lagann, in terms of large scale, I also have Space Battleship Yamato
Oh, yeah.
and Legend of Galactic Heroes. Those are, in the realm of literal large scale anime. We also have One Piece and Hunter x Hunter. They're similar in the sense that the creators made entirely new worlds. And they're so expansive. Like One Piece goes on forever, and it's so unique. Same with Hunter x Hunter.
Well, same with like Dragon Ball Z. It's like,
Oh, totally.
You can't. It's not like, oh, you have Earth, like that's cool. But sure, in this alternate universe, you have to make up different races and the planets that they come from and why they ended up on Earth
Yeah.
and like how their abilities, manifest and all of these different things that you have to make up. Whereas K-On!, it's like, all right, all of the rules of the real world apply here, and we're just gonna write characters.
Right. Then there's the Fate series. So not only is there this history of a magical war that has been happening for generations, but there's this in-depth magical system and world-changing consequences to all of it. And that's really similar to Full Metal Alchemist as well.
Yeah, you have to write the fact that, all of these people have abilities and some people have innate abilities for this and that, and some people go and study, and, you have to make up all these little, like, magic diagrams that they have to draw on the ground.
Right. There's a fully developed world of alchemy and alchemist, and each of the alchemists uses alchemy in their own unique way.
And they even have the universal rule.
The
where it's
rules,
like
yeah.
The give up and you have to take something.
And that's only the concept. That's not even the plot. In the plot, there are like all the homunculi and the human transmutation
And
and
then you have even beyond that, you have like subplot where it's like the warring
a war.
nations.
I
Yeah.
know, that's insane how big it is. Then, in terms of small scale anime,
Toradora.
Toradora is small scale. It's a romance. I wrote down Welcome to the NHK.
I always feel like high school is cheating because like literally everything you can just sweep under like
Yeah, maybe.
small scale.
Maybe. I mean, there are probably a lot of high school anime that try to be large scale.
Like Mob Psycho.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent example.
I don't know if he's in high school though, but he's in
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
And he happens to be like pretty expensive.
Well, Welcome to the NHK is about a hikikomori, and the conflict is just this, social outcast is trying to leave his house. He's too afraid to walk outside, essentially. Most Kyoto Animation shows, like Hyoka or K-On!,
And they're great.
they are fantastic. With Hyoka, it's a boy is trying to answer this curious girl's questions, and K-On! Is, like you said, it's just these girls in a music club. That's it, essentially.
Well, what about large scale in a different sense? Like, instead of large scale in what they do, what about large scale in almost complexity? Like, let's say Steins Gate, for example. Like,
Yeah,
that's small scale in the sense that, you follow all of the, more or less, the rules of the world, and then they happen to have this one extra,
Element.
extraordinary element to it. And you have, once time travel is put into it, you have this extraordinary element, but for the most part, it's pretty down to earth and they follow the rules of the world. It's set in a realistic location of Akihabara,
Right.
you know. But you have this complex thing that almost makes it large scale.
Totally.
and-
I would
and
I would
small scale.
define Steins Gate as a large scale anime. But later on I think we're going to talk about if a show can be both. So maybe you want to save it for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a few more. I wrote down Sword of the Stranger. I think that's considered a small-scale anime in the sense that the plot itself is almost uninteresting due to how straightforward it is. The setting is pre-established. It's just a typical historical Japanese
Yeah, it's
setting.
kind of like Edo period samurais.
But the entire movie is built up to the final fight scene, and even though it's known as one of the best choreographed fights of all time in anime, it's the moment where he unsheaths his sword that is the most meaningful moment.
Right. And
It's
that is
so incredible.
it's a really big moment for a really small scale action.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. Death Parade is one. It's a show.
It's like you have to play almost like bar games with one another.
Yeah. Death
There's
Parade.
like pool and wasn't it?
Right. You
It's like
might you might
billiards?
have only seen Death Billiards, which is like the prequel or like the OVA before the series came out.
Okay.
And I wanted to mention that just to provide an example that a small scale anime can have fantasy in it. You know, it's just about these two essentially, dead people. We don't know really what they are. They're called Shinigami, these overlookers of like the undead, and they force these people who have just died to play a game in order to discover their past and to kind of judge who gets to go to heaven and hell within these games. And it's a really simple yet complex concept.
Right. It's almost like a limbo, but your fate is decided by darts or billiards
Yes.
or like a game as
Yes.
opposed to what you did in your life.
And similarly, Kaiji is something I would consider as a small-scale anime because it's just gambling. It's just gambling, and yet, I think we talked about it last week, there's no anime that compares to how nerve-wracking Kaiji is. Anyone who picks up episode 1 will marathon it in a day. Like, you cannot put that anime down. Yeah. A few others are Kids on the Slope, Beck, Tatami Galaxy, Hyuge Mono, Akuna Hana, and Silver Spoon.
Tatami Galaxy is another one I wanted to bring up because it's almost that,
In between.
in between where you have small scale, it's just like kid living in Japan, but he happens to meet this one guy that's extra,
Yeah.
extraordinary, and you have this magical element that kind of, adds to the story, but it's still like very down to earth. Outside of this one piece
Yeah.
that is, a little bit out of this world, you have very down to earth, follows all the rules of a normal world.
Right. I get what you're saying. I don't think, aside from the magical element, I don't think a show, just because it is like psychological or philosophical, I don't think that automatically makes it large scale, though. I don't think.
Well, that's why I think it's the in between, because like large scale to me almost, you mentioned it earlier, you have to write your own world around it. Like Psychopaths, you have to write this fictional world in which people actually have, their entire state of mind, put down into like a color and a number or something.
Right. Well, let's get into that. Let's compare the two. What are some things that small scale anime can do better than large scale, and vice versa? What are the pros and cons?
Obviously, relatability. Like,
Okay.
the number one thing that a small scale anime has over a large scale is relatability. I'm never going to relate to the person that's, like, going to, punch the baddest dude in the world, like, through a car or something, right? I'm never going to relate to, Goku going Super Saiyan 3 for the first time. Like, the shit's
Right.
just not going to happen. But I can relate to getting up on stage as, like, Haruhi and being about to sing a song or something and being nervous as hell.
Totally. I could not agree with you more. Small scale anime is very relatable due to intimacy. And that's not to say that large scale anime can't be relatable, but it definitely
But I think
lacks
that
intimacy.
the relatable moments are actually the smallest scale parts of the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Like if you take Gurren Lagann, for example, you have all of these big, huge scale moments, and then you have the awkwardness between Simone and
Nia?
Yoko
Oh, Yoko, yeah.
or something, right? This like kind of adolescent love. That,
Yeah.
like everybody can be like, oh, I know that feeling.
Right.
But you can't know the feeling of like, bopping a robot's head off or something.
Right, and in large-scale anime, your interest is spread across so many things. Your personal interest at that moment might be about, like the magic system in that world, or like the science, or the universe itself, and it detracts from the characters. I mean, that kind of gets into our older episode, which we did on characters versus plot. Yeah, your interest is definitely widespread, which takes out that intimate relationship. Small-scale anime encourages you to focus on what the characters are focusing on.
Exactly. I mean, it can be very little, but very, a really big deal to the plot. Like, it can be a small-scale thing, like failing a test, asking out a loved one, or like, winning the big sports game or whatever you have. But like, that's a big moment in that character's life, and you can relate to that being a big moment similar to something you've done. Like, maybe if you were playing high school football, you know how it feels to be in that, final playoff game or something.
Yeah. And that makes me think, I don't really know the answer to this, but would you say that one of the differences between small scale and large scale is the conflict being internal versus external? I feel like a lot of small scale anime focus on internal conflict, like I don't know, like, am I gonna do well at this concert? Am I worth something? Can I confess my love? Whereas external is really potentially convoluted. Like, am I gonna defeat the aliens?
Yeah. But I think that there's a lot of internal struggle in those large scale, like especially I don't want to keep using Gurren Lagann as an example, but like Simone battling like his own self after saying spoilers.
Spoilers. Pause for 30 seconds.
After Kamina dies, like you have, Simone's like literally inability to do anything for like 3 episodes.
Yes.
So I think that there is internal struggle in large scale, but I don't think that it's the main appeal.
Right. So another aspect that really appeals to small scale anime is something I would kind of define as perfection, or maybe like attention to detail. And I'd be lying if I said this topic wasn't somewhat inspired by Overwatch. Yeah.
Overwatch.
For all those who don't know, Overwatch was originally supposed to be this huge MMO.
Titan.
Like World of Warcraft. Project Titan is what you said.
Yeah.
And Blizzard eventually realized that what they were creating was turning into such a mess that they essentially remade it from the ground up. And Overwatch is not... Overwatch is now this very small, simple concept, but each tiny detail is given so much care and attention that it is perfected. It transcended like the nature of first-person shooters. And I feel like small-scale anime does the same thing. It can really afford to take the time to pay attention to these very minor details that are very emotional.
Well, there's one thing that I do agree with that, is that, like, say K-On! For instance, you get to know each of the characters' subtleties so well, and their personalities, because you're not focusing on the fact of them finally fighting some big bad evil monster or something. You get more time to focus on their subtleties, how they move, how they talk, how they act. That like there's a scene in the K-On! Movie where you just see the legs of the characters walking across the screen.
Yes.
And because you've seen the show, you know exactly which character is which, even though the legs like are all drawn the same, but the way in which they move, like one character's moving backwards, one takes like a couple skips every couple of steps, and you can actually tell who each character is without having to see them, just because you almost
that's
get
amazing.
Like this ability to know them in not as creepy of a way as it sounded.
Yeah, I mean, and even like, I think it was episode 1 of K-On!, there's this scene where they all go to like a McDonald's essentially, and Mugi says like it's her first time in one of these restaurants, and you can like the dialogue is happening, and then Mugi in the background isn't saying anything,
but she's like like carefully unwrapping a burger or something, like, oh my god, this is so incredible.
And she's like watching what like Ritsu is doing, and she notices that Ritsu like pours out her fries on the tray, and so Mugi like throws her fries on top of Ritsu's, and like the show isn't mentioning any of this. It's just all these actions that Mugi is doing, and it's moments like that would never be present in a large scale anime.
Right, you're thinking like when you're making a large scale anime, you're thinking too much about the big moments as opposed to these small intimate moments.
Right, exactly. Of course, you know, there's nothing wrong with large scale. Like what we said, large scale is like what we almost like most about a lot of anime. And something that large scale does really well is immersion. And I feel like small scale anime can really take you out of a story where large scale anime build such intense worlds that you really get sucked in.
It pulls you in, and that's where you marathon episode after episode.
Yes, totally. You mentioned earlier you wanted to talk a little bit about anime that has both, both elements, internal and external, you know, large and small. You said Steins Gate.
Yeah, so I mean, with Steins Gate, you have like, you have this huge overarching like large scale thing where Okabe invents time travel. Like that is a monumental
Yes.
like part of human history. And then you have these little intimate moments where he's like awkwardly talking with Kurisu.
Totally.
Or like, you know, him and God, what is her name? The Tuturu girl.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh my god. Tuturu. I don't know. And you also have these moments where he's interacting with Mayuri, and she's like, you know, you see the background story between these two characters and how he cares so much, and then you see in the, you know, in flashback why he cares so much about this person, and that's a really relatable thing, is that you can think about, you know, a person in your life that you have this special kind of relationship with for whatever reason. And it's really interesting to see one scene of like, you know, intimate moments between two characters, and then, you know, going back in time for the very first time, like these.
Yeah. Like initially, I kind of thought of Steins Gate as a large-scale anime, but what you're saying, I can really kind of see the balance between the two, especially due to the fact that you get a really good sense of who these characters are.
Right, and if Sam were here, he'd be like, and this goes back to my favorite topic, character development.
Whatever, get out, Sam. You're not here. An anime that came to mind for me was Evangelion, because it focuses so much on both internal and external conflict. What Evangelion on the surface is about are these angels attacking and these giant robots.
It's a super convoluted, complex,
Yes.
like large-scale story.
And yet, what it's really about is, you know, Shinji dealing with depression, essentially, or like existentialism. So it
Or
really
his dad hating him.
Yes, exactly. So I think if you can achieve both, you're on your way to a masterpiece, essentially. Like, It's very hard to, you know, master both of those concepts. So we've been actually going for a while. So do you want to move on to questions?
Do the questions.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Well, Darvinger says, you guys getting Sun and Moon? And yes, Pokemon hype. I got Moon, Jeremy's playing Sun as we speak.
Like literally right now.
I am choosing Rowlet too!
I don't have it. I don't have a 3DS.
Yeah.
Choose Poplio.
Poplio actually has kind of a decent third evolution.
It better. It looks like a doofus.
You're a doofus. Anyways, yeah, I got Moon, Jeremy got Sun. If you remember Dean, he's...
Yeah, so we have to do a transfer here. So we got Sun to give to me. So when I take a trip later this year to Seoul, and Dean's coming from Taiwan to Seoul to meet me,
Right.
I will give him the game.
Exactly, because Dean did not want to download the game. He wanted to have a physical copy. Which
So now he's literally getting it delivered from the United States to fucking Taiwan.
So yes, I'm very excited, at the very least. Then we got a question from Lolita. Lolita.
You know what that means. So
No, I know, but it's spelled different. It's LO-LEE-TAAH.
Oh, I get it.
Okay, so what do you guys think about the new Ghost in the Shell trailer that was recently released, and about their movie in general? By the way, I love listening to you guys. 10 out of 10 would listen to over and over again. Thank you. So sweet.
That's so nice. Okay, so I watched it on my own, and then Kyle re-showed it to me so it could be nice and fresh. And then we didn't talk about this because we knew this question was coming.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use the words cautiously optimistic
Really?
to describe it. Now, the reason I say that is because there are scenes in the trailer that I see and I instantly recognize from the movie anyway. I haven't
Okay.
seen the series, but I see the part where they're all using like the invisibility cloaks in the water. Mm-hmm. Like that was a pretty iconic scene, or obviously falling off the rooftop.
Right.
The rooftop one, I'm less optimistic about going well.
Sure.
But anyway, cautiously optimistic is what I'll use because I think it could be good, but not because it's a copy of the anime. I think it could be good if you let go of the fact that they're combined and look at it as a show.
Oh
as
my
a
gosh.
movie.
Oh man. Okay. Well. Okay. So here we go.
You're not very happy about it, apparently. Is this like Dragon Ball? Oh, wait, you don't care about Dragon
No,
Ball?
I don't. Okay. So the trailer was nothing but exact recreations of scenes from the original movie. And you may think, that's a good thing. They're staying true to the original. But actually, that is my biggest complaint. I've said before that when anything is remade, something gets lost in the process, making it a watered-down version of the original.
I think that's like verbatim.
Yeah. The original Ghost in the Shell is a masterpiece. Ghost in the Shell is a philosophical and psychological journey. What this trailer told me is that the director stripped the aesthetic of Ghost in the Shell and threw away unnecessary visuals from Akira and The Matrix, and from what I can tell, turned it into an action movie, which Ghost in the Shell is not. There's no purpose for this.
What did I say?
No.
I said if you look at it like it's not connected to the movie, it looks like it might be pretty good. Holy fucking drink.
Oh, that's a big drink.
There's no butts though.
It doesn't matter.
Those girls look underage.
Not their bodies.
Their faces covered by their boobs.
So I don't see a purpose for this adaptation to exist.
Okay.
Because it's not adding to Ghost in the Shell.
No. What did I say? I was like, if you look at it like it's not connected, it looks like.
But it
might
has
be
the
pretty
name.
good.
Okay, if this was the exact same trailer and it was called something entirely different, like The Matrix, just call it something like The Matrix and don't put the Ghost in the Shell title on it. Because it's not Ghost in the Shell.
Okay, fine. As someone that's not a Ghost in the Shell diehard fan, I think it could be cool if I just go into it and look at it and like, this is entertainment. I don't really care that it's butchering everything. This is fun.
I honestly don't know if I will see it.
It's the same way you have to watch Transformers movie. This is going to be shit, but I'm going to love it.
Okay, but the thing is, Transformers is this concept. It's like a fun, nostalgic concept. There are other things that have been remade, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's this nostalgically, kid show, fun concept. It can be remade and be 1,000 things. Batman has been done 1,000 times because Batman's
Even
concept...
the dark, gritty reboot.
Right, but that's cool because Batman can't be anything. Ghost in the Shell is not a concept. It is a concrete idea. It is a well thought out, and you don't remake a masterpiece.
I think that you just happen to be really attached to the series as a whole. I think if I've seen the series, I might be more on the same page with you. But as somebody that's only seen the movie, I think that it's a cool spin-off thing because that's all it looks like it is. It doesn't look like it's... Well, you say that it's trying to be the original. I'm saying it knows what it is, and it's not trying to... It's just trying to put the Ghost in the Shell story to a wider audience that would never have watched anime in the first place.
Maybe.
And if I look at it in that way, I can deal with it.
Sure. I mean, if I look at it that way, I could deal with it too, but I choose not to.
Okay. And I think if I've seen the series, I might be on the same page as you, but I haven't, and that's what I have to go with. That girl has a heart for her tongue.
Yes, she does.
Okay. Same page.
There's a kitty on his head.
Get out! You're not in this episode.
There is a kitty on his head.
Hunter, why don't you read some names of people who have reblogged our episode?
All right, I've got a couple names here. We've got Captain hyphen Pompidou, Nyam Bunny,
Yeah.
Sieruin, Darvinger, Yellow Snowcone, that's gross, Marika 926, Hakuta Hakuta Kuchan,
Nice.
and of course Picarius.
So you guys know you can send us questions and episode topics or just opinions on whatever you're watching to us at the Weeaboos on Twitter. We're the weeaboos@gmail.com, and you can send questions
I
to
promise
me.
I still check the Twitter. We don't use the Twitter, but I still check the Twitter.
Nice. And you can send questions to me at you can send questions to me at Secret Otaku on Tumblr. If you reblog or share our episode, we'll give you a shout out for sure. And if you have the time, please give us an iTunes review. It helps us out a lot.
Drink.
We want to thank Hentai Dude for our intro music and Kid Buu for our outro music. And like always, get
Drunk.
and
Anime.
see you next week.
Catch me smoking a sour off the coast of Okinawa. Feeling so high like I'm Ho-Oh in a tower. Take a flight on some shit. Got my dogs riding beside me, blazing hot. That's kamikaze, sacred fire. Don't be mad, I'm lit. Catch me smoking a sour off the coast of Okinawa. Feeling so high like I'm Ho-Oh in a tower. Take a flight on some shit. Got my dogs riding beside me, blazing hot. That's kamikaze, sacred fire. Don't be mad, I'm lit.
Because we noticed it was just the two of us
Yeah,
for a
it's like,
second.
wait, we're both gonna have to say 2 words.
Get drunk at anime.